This is a PokePress special report.
All right, very cool. So now that we've all explained our credentials for talking about this in the first place, we can go on to the song itself. We are going to be talking about the Pokemon theme from the original anime.
Which marks the first time we've talked about a song extensively that isn't from a video game. So
yeah,
exciting time.
Unless you count, I think it's in Pokemon Puzzle League retroactively for the N64, but that was obviously after the TV show. That whole game is based pretty much on the dub of the TV show.
That's right. Yeah, that's a good point. So this is going to be the American version, not the Japanese version.
Different song.
Yeah, completely different song. This one was, I believe it was created by, who was... it was the 4Kids. Yeah, 4Kids, I believe.
4Kids. It was written by John Leffler and John Siegler. Original version is performed by Jason Page. And, there's been about 500 million versions since. And we can probably talk about some of those as time goes on.
Exactly. And it plays during, of course, the intro credits of the show. And does it also play during the ending?
No, the original ending of the TV show, well, if you have the credit sequence at the end, if you have it on like DVD and stuff, yes, you do hear the Pokemon theme again. But of course, the Pokemon TV show for its first season and a half or whatever had the Pokerap, which was, it was divided into 5 chunks for the different days of the week. And it would take you through pretty much all 150 Pokemon up to that point, except for a few they forgot from it.
Oh, really? They forgot some? I didn't know that.
Hey, there are a lot. Those writers were doing their best.
Oh, that was a fun era for sure. So, okay, let's go ahead and play for everyone here the Pokemon theme, arranged by John Siegler and sung by Jason Page. Okay, so that was the Pokemon theme from the Pokemon anime.
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was.
That guitar solo was very guitarish.
Man, this song has good feelings all over it. It's just fun to listen to every time. One of the catchiest songs I've ever heard.
Like every good cartoon aimed at kids, its primary purpose is to say the name of the license repeatedly.
Gotta catch them all, Pokemon.
Yes, exactly. They are trying to instill a very basic idea with this song, and they get it. They get it across. Pokemon, right?
That seems to be the case there. Now, of course, originally in the TV show, they only had that first verse and chorus, and then later in '99, they released the full version with 2 verses, choruses, bridge, all that stuff. I can't say that I know some of the forms and stuff maybe as well as you guys do, but certainly the lyrics very familiar. I mean, you can play that with people who grew up with that show, and they'll instantly come right back into that. Good example actually was a couple months, back in August, I was over at the Pokemon World Championships covering it, but they also had the Pokemon Symphonic Evolution's debut concert. And it's mostly game music there, but they did have an orchestral version of the Pokemon theme with the audience and a singer going along with that. And that was pretty cool to see that. And, you can just see how resonant it is. I might go as far as to say it's the best theme song to a TV show based on a video or computer game. The only things I would consider to be maybe competitive with it are like the PBS Carmen Diego TV show had a great theme. And also maybe in a distant third, the Sonic Saturday AM theme, Fastest Thing Alive. Those are probably the closest I can think, but I think Pokemon edges both of those out.
Wait, is that the Sonic X theme song?
No. This is from the early 90s, the Sonic Saturday AM.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
The one with Jaleel White, Urkel, as the voice of Sonic. There were 2 of them with him, and this was the Saturday AM one, which is generally regarded as better.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I'm trying to think of other examples of, a video game animated. There's like the Kirby theme. I remember that one.
I mean, Mario Super Show is pretty well known.
That's right, yeah.
Fun fact, both the Kirby and Pokemon theme were in Donkey Konga.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. In the American version of Donkey Konga, they had the American Pokemon theme. In the Japanese version, they had the current theme for that season or thereabouts, which was Advance Adventure.
Well, jumping back to Sonic for a second.
Of course, that's what we always do. Of course,
that's my universal touchstone.
Yeah.
This song reminds me of Sonic the Hedgehog in the sense that it just goes for it. it's like the actual quality and the instruments used and like the musicianship, if that's a word, on display is actually pretty impressive. But it doesn't seem to care if someone's going to mock it for being cheesy. It knows what it is, and it is like going for that all the way.
But with a whole lot of heart behind it, it's like it's having fun anyway. So,
and the lyrics are just pure friendship, and we can do it. Let's work together. Pokemon. And I really appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's one great thing with the with the Pokemon theme. And if you go on to To Be a Master, the album there, everyone on that album sells what they're singing about. They totally buy into it. They totally give their all, and that's what makes it so great. If this were someone who sounded like they were just trying to do this to get a paycheck, it would not sound nearly as good. It would not be nearly as iconic, even if they did a relatively good job of singing the words and stuff like that.
There's a passion behind it all, for sure.
Yeah, there really is. I mean, just the guitar note that kicks off the whole song.
Oh, yeah.
Is awesome.
Yep.
I'm so glad they got that sound. I mean, I'm no aficionado, so I don't really know how to describe it. To me, it kind of sounds like 80s stuff. Like
the guitar? Yeah.
Okay,
so there's a certain definitely the huge amount of reverb on everything, and the kind of echoey arena rock kind of feel they're going for. It has a big 80s influence to it. I really do appreciate the guitar, in the solo especially. It has a very kind of bluesy single coil kind of sound to the guitar itself. It's got kind of that kind of round. It's not a tinny sharp sound, which I appreciate for the solo and for a lot of the guitar work in it. It's got a lot of, like everything, it's got a lot of heart to it. There's almost no part of that song that's just kind of phoning it in. Like you may be able to see kind of the drums or some of the synth, but when it comes to the main components, which is the singing and the guitar, both of them really go all out with a lot of feel and heart to what they're doing.
Yes, very well said. Better well said than I could have said it.
But yeah, pretty much I've given up. This may not be a good song. It may not be a great song, I should say, musically. There can be arguments for that, but I've given up ever resisting that I'm going to love it anyway. It's hard to ever count this song out just because it might be a little bit simplistic or a little bit repetitive or whatever your complaint about it might be. I think for me, it falls more like a pop song because of that, because it's more about trying to get across a kind of a basic emotion, trying to get across some basic lyrics, and just trying to capture the minds of a lot of people and just be fun. And I think it hits home in that. I mean, it hits home what it's trying to do.
Yeah. I mean, Steven, do you remember specifically listening to this song when you were younger, back watching the show, and what your opinion was?
Well, it's interesting. I didn't really have maybe a super great opinion of the Pokemon anime. I did watch it. I kept up on it.
Yeah.
And when To Be a Master came out in the summer of '99, that really, I'm not sure exactly why, but it sort of changed my perception of the whole thing. It made me get a lot more into it, which was kind of interesting. But the song itself, I mean, lyrically, I mean, it's good musically. I couldn't tell you exactly which chords are used everywhere and all that stuff, but lyrically, it's probably one of the most solid and focused things I've ever heard. In certainly in the TV theme era, probably in music in general. It's just way up there.
You have a good point that the lyrics are hitting home a central theme, and they're focused in on it in a way that especially kid shows don't typically do. They'll kind of maybe talk about the villain that you're dealing with, or talk about the character and how cool and fast he is, or what have you. That may have been a Sonic nod. They'll kind of just be all over the place. But this one's it may be a really a really, you could say, cheesy or basic theme, but it's really sticking to it.
Well, the thing they'll play for commercial breaks, or the things they put on the advertisements is just Pokemon, gotta catch them all.
Right.
But when you listen to the whole lyrics, they're like, Pokemon, gotta catch them all. But really, it's about friendship, and we're working as a team, and let us tell you our philosophy on life. And that's what the song is about.
That's a good point. A little bit like the My Little Pony theme, except more in depth.
Yeah, it is kind of like that. That's a good point, which is also a pretty good.
But that has like 2 verses in it.
Yeah, I mean it's a lot shorter.
So it's not nearly. But it's
speaking of shortened versions, the version you can get on. I don't know if you can hear my cat. He wants to be involved in this. Meow.
He has a very strong opinion on this.
Yeah. What was I even saying? Oh, yeah. The length on the To Be a Master version, which you can get on iTunes. I know, maybe
it's on
Amazon.
pretty much all. It's on iTunes. It's on Amazon. It's on I believe maybe not Google Play. I think they might have the Spanish version of that album for whatever reason.
Oh, weird.
But it's pretty easy to get that one. It's on To Be a Master. If you want to just get the original theme, it's also on the Pokemon X CD that came out back in. Let's see. The digital version was 2006. The CD version was 2007.
Right.
So it's out there.
Yes, definitely. It's surprisingly available. They didn't just try to bury it.
Oh.
The version you are probably used to, listener, is no doubt the one that plays on TV. But the To Be a Master version has like an extended like extra verse and this kind of intermission where everything gets all soulful and calms down a lot. It's actually quite
the bridge is pretty neat too. Yeah.
This has been a PokePress special report.